Hello everyone. Welcome back to another stream, Tier 3 Mordor. Just as you expected. And yeah, so I believe last time when we ended the stream we were working on the helmet. But I've done a bit of work off camera or off stream, and basically I made this tunic. I'm gonna pull up the references here. Let's get the hello everyone again. Hello. Just once again, let me know if there are any sound issues of any kind. And so for those of you who are new to this, who have never attended one of these streams before, I say welcome. We are remaking Tier 3 Mordor for the Rise of Mordor mod on Total War Attila. So strap in, I guess. Get some popcorn or something to drink and enjoy. So as I said earlier, I made this tunic off stream. In Marvelous Designer, because I was also kind of learning at the same time. I didn't want to bore anyone or have to, watch video tutorials during the stream, so that would be the reason why. So now it's just a matter of cleaning up this model that I've made. Is that third orc wearing a Gondorian plate armor in the concept art? Yes, it is. We had an idea. Mayron is our concept artist, and I believe the idea was that some of the orcs would have picked up armor just off of Gondorian soldiers during the battles, and that's why we've included that. But that is unlikely to be put in. I will unlikely make that for this unit, but it is still kind of cool for the concept, I guess. And so essentially, I have a high poly tunic here. It's this one right here, and then I also have my low poly that I've made here. And I'm just gonna bake the details as always, and yeah, basically I'm just gonna bake the details onto it, texture it, and then we'll also try to finish this helmet on the stream. Yeah, that's essentially what the plan, I guess, is to finish this helmet and to finish this tunic. So I'm basically gonna unwrap this tunic. I think that's probably what I'm gonna do. So let's do that. We're gonna have a seam here. It's the same process as always for people who've been here for a while with the whole unwrapping. I'm just gonna cut it up into basically little chunks. Actually, this would be, oops. Probably don't want a seam there. I could probably just do a seam all the way around here. And here. Like that. We're gonna have two kind of pieces there. Maybe one that just goes right underneath the pits, essentially. And like that. And then also continue it down the back. And also down the front. You know, actually, it would probably be a better idea because you're not going to see it. You're probably want to put it down the sides even. Put it down the sides, then it's less likely to be seen. Like that, so you don't see it. The New York throng could have red cloth on other than that brown gray shade. I mean, redder than previously. I do believe it's quite red in game, but yeah, I can adjust the colors, and you will be able to control it together in chat manually. So there's no problems with that. We can make it a bit more red. I just don't want it because there's also a lot of like dirt on it, so it kind of muddles and browns down the color a bit. So we'll see what happens with that. But I believe that's. So yeah, we're basically just gonna unwrap this out. Maybe we'll put this same. This. What the heck? Okay. Around the arm. Like this. Like this. Mark seam. And right, so that's cut up there. And that, and then basically get 2 cylinders, and you can easily unwrap a cylinder just by cutting a seam across it. That actually we'll put it underneath so no one sees it. The point is we're just hiding the seams in spots where no one will notice them. And here. And here. Now, this should be unwrapped quite easily and quite nicely, so we can just do this. Let's go here. Beautiful. Perfect, kind of just nice sheets of cloth, almost. So that turned out really nicely. And so we can move on pretty quick, I think, then. Right, we can just export this model and then go to texture it right away. Well, we have to bake it first, I guess, but let's go export FBX. Let's go to here and let's go Uruks. So now that you guys have caught the hang of some things, I'm going to be working a bit faster so we can kind of, because I have been going a little slow modeling these helmets and taking my time through it, but we'll go a little bit quicker now that everyone kind of is sort of familiar. Like a lot of you have seen these streams before and are fairly familiar with sort of what's happening, so I can do less explaining, right? But I'll explain definitely as I go. So that's exported. Let's get Substance Painter open up in the meantime. Are you backing away from the underlayer concept art Mayron made? Oh, the underlayer. No, I'm not. It's not particularly complicated. It's simply all he drew was just a tunic and some chainmail underneath, which we will have, right? It's just gonna have cloth here, and then we'll have like chainmail kind of around the arm region. So no, not necessarily. It's just the fact that it's not, complicated enough to necessarily have it, I guess, more focused on having like this concept here, right, with this armor, where it kind of needs to see how the plates are laid out. But the idea is just there's a tunic and some chainmail around the arms, so it's not very difficult. I could put it up here if I really needed to, but so baking. So I get my high poly, get my low poly. I have a simple baking material laid out, and I go here, and select it to active. Yeah, I'm going to increase this a bit, and I select my high poly, then my low poly, and I go bake. And so this high poly is essentially something I made off camera in Marvelous Designer, which is a cloth simulation software. And I'm not very familiar with it, I'm not very good with it, so I didn't really show what I did, but it was a lot of tinkering, a lot of just playing around with settings and buttons, and so that's kind of the reason I didn't show that. But when I make the pants, I will probably stream that. Yeah, and the pants I'll probably make maybe, I don't know, maybe even today. I could start on them today, right? Because I'm kind of working from, you know, underneath to above, right? Like I work on the tunic, kind of inside out, right? Do the tunic, then the trousers, and then the belt, and then just the armor on top of that in layers. So that's kind of the approach I'm taking here. And let's go to... Okay, so I have these artifacts here, which basically means my distance is too low. I'm not sending the rays out far enough. So I need to increase this ray distance here. And we'll bake again. Django Fett, gotcha. How do you plan on making them look thicker? Well, what I'm probably going to do, I don't have a specifically necessarily. All I'm going to do is simply make the armor as I see it. And it should naturally look thicker. Maybe before the problem was I didn't work. I worked outside in, so I made the outside armor layer first, and then made everything inside of it. So that kind of made it like I kind of defined the outside thickness first, and then worked inside. Whereas here I'm working inside out, right? Making the tunic first, which already is probably a lot thicker than the old tunic that's used in the other Uruk unit. Basically, yeah, so I'll just make it as I make it, right? Normally. And it should naturally come out to be as the concept looks, which should be maybe thicker. If not, I can widen a few things. It's not a huge issue. I'll just have more plates and more armor and stuff like that. You know, more belts, maybe a lot more accessories and stuff. Like, I think it's nice to have, like, the nice detailed belts, maybe some cloth and fur in some places, and some just leather kind of wrapped around in straps, maybe around the wrist or something. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, a lot better. This stuff that can be cleaned up, so let's send it out. And we're gonna make a tunic. Folder, save this. GIMP. Oops. GIMP. Get that going. Move PureRef out of the way. We're gonna find our, where is it? Oops. Oh, okay. Sometimes I get lost in my own files. There's so many of them. Boom. And we'll just clean this up real quick. And just clean this all up. This tool does wonders. Look at that. Amazing. It just cleans it all up. Okay, let's get this one a little nicer. Alright. We're just cleaning up these spots. These are artifacts, and these will cause problems in our model. So if this texture is showing the surface, like showing how bumpy the surface is, then we don't want there to be these abrupt colors, because each color essentially indicates a direction that part is facing. So you can kind of, from that, see the surface detail, right? Well, if you have just an abrupt different color, it's just going to look really weird, like black, or just black spots, or really weird artifacts on your model, and so that's why we have to get rid of these. See, this tool that I use here just basically turns whatever I draw into its surroundings, and basically just perfectly blends it in. So, yeah. This looks clean. Let's go like, and then we have to simply, just for the Total War Attila, we have to invert the normal. Oops. Yeah, and that just basically makes it usable in the current sort of engine we're using. And then we can call this inverted. Export. History Pro, how are you going to make the plate armor above? That's a question for when we actually start it, to be honest. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but we'll figure it out together. Oops, I don't need this. So that's done. And we're also going to fray it a bit near the edges so the cloth is not so clean. So I do believe in the texture. Yeah, the cloth is not in probably the greatest condition. You know, it's torn and frayed all at the edges and stuff, so I will be messing it up a bit. So let's do that. So let's create new. Let's find our model. Tunic. There it is. Yeah, 124, and then we'll find our textures. Let's go pictures, more. Let's go to tier 3 Mordor. Tunic, and we need this normal that we just created. Look, Renner just got into Blender yesterday. It took me 40 minutes to make a circle. Well, Luke, everyone's got to start from somewhere. I can assure you, I sucked at Blender. I was awful. Like, really quite terrible, so you gotta start somewhere, is all I have to say. Okay, that should not be happening. What is that? That looks weird. Did I not see that before? Why does his arm look like that? Huh. There's literally a chunk missing from his arm. Am I looking at it from like this angle or something? No, it's fully like missing. That's not normal. Same thing on this side. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. Is it this thing here? Is this gap? Can't tell. Well, regardless, I'm gonna. Oh, I'll have to restart if I fix that. Okay, yeah. Well, we're doing it. We're gonna go here. We're gonna go fill. Oops. Yeah, we're doing some model fixing right now. That's unfortunate. I'll reconnect this in a better way. Like this. That looks a lot better. Hello Sebastian, I'm working on Tier 3 Mortar, more specifically the Tunic for the unit, because basically, yeah, just the Tunic here, it's underneath the armor. That's just sort of what I'm going with for today, and also I'm planning to finish the helmet, so that we have all the helmets done for Tier 3. And then we can, and then I'll see what if I can maybe start trousers today as well, pants, because it'll be a change of software. It'll be Marvelous Designer, so you guys will be able to see something new other than Blender for once. Right, so that's cleaned up, and now I'll have to unfortunately redo this. So actually maybe I don't. Yeah, I don't actually. That's perfect. Okay, so let's export that again. Oops, okay. And then we can go substance, create a new file. And also I made a mistake here anyway, so I have to do that. So Total War shader. Oops, I'll get my normal map. Let's get our model. Tunic. Boom. That's looking more familiar. And then we have to add basically a fabric material, first of all. Okay. Yeah, let's find our fabric. Where is it? Rise of Mordor fabric. Just standard material that we have. This looks awful. Big mesh maps. Literally hurts my eyes. It's really bright. Okay, and then it still looks pretty bad. So we'll put the normal in that we have, and we'll bake again, but off of our new normal. That should give us a bit more, yeah, like shading in these darker areas, the wrinkles of the cloth, which is really nice. And then we'll get rid of this incredibly just like fuzzy and terrible looking cloth. I only need just the base material really. So let's try to figure out what's doing it. So it's not this. That's the fibers. Yeah, that stuff is awful. wonder if I can change the scale down to like tiny. No. Is this what's controlling the? Yeah, it is. I don't mind a bit of those things, but they're so big. I don't know why. Yeah, there should be very little of them. Alright, and then yeah, keep them a bit blurred out. So basically, this is kind of what I'm looking for as the base cloth, sort of, and then I'll basically make it just reddish, essentially. So let's tint it right now. Base color, and we're going with a red here. So red. Now, if we're going for red, we're going slightly purplish. So let's go slightly, just ever so slightly purplish. And then probably more reddish. Okay. It's really saturated. Yeah, I would say reddish or brownish. Adrian Garcia Bianchi. Hey, how are you? Is someone working on Isengard armor or not yet? I do believe Isengard is essentially a finished faction. So it's already in game. You can play it right now if you want. There's no one working on Isengard. It's done, I believe. I would suggest making the tunic a bit thick in order to make the Uruks look a little more bulky, although I think that the chainmail will also contribute to the bulky factor. Sebastian, I would not worry too much about the bulkiness. It'll come together, you'll see. I don't want these units to be like super wide, no. I would not worry about it. Okay, reddish, yeah. So we're going for a mix between reddish brownish. So on my concept it's very red, but if I'm looking at I'm looking here, actually it's quite reddish. Let's make it a bit more red. I think this is the most I'll go. This is a bit more tame. I think this is a little lighter. I think there. How's it? I think this is good. I'm gonna stick with this. Who did the current orcs? The current tier 3 was done by me. The orc models were not made by me. I did not make the orc model. The face that you see on all of them, the zombie looking guy. That was made by a really old member, like years ago. So yeah, I will be making more though. That's something you guys have heavily requested, so that'll be something I'll be working on after this unit, making more orc head variations. Hi Fristy, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. David Van. Can't you use like 3 different ones? What do you mean by 3 different ones? I'll need a bit more of a explanation on that, elaboration on what you mean. Okay. And then what we'll do is we will get rid of the really weird, ugly thing here. This is gonna be our dirt, I think. We'll call this dirt. Okay, can you tell? Okay, so it just makes it look a little dirtier. Actually, we'll make it like a little, just an off shade of red. So it looks Actually, white lighter looks better. That looks good. Okay. Well, it's very light. That's probably. I think this is an artifact. That's like not super noticeable. I'm liking this. It's looking really messy and scraggly and stuff. Now I think we just need to fray it. I think is what we need to do, and then we should be good. This is a pretty solid tunic, I think. So let's just fray it out, I guess. Three different color ones of this tunic you're making. There's a way to do it. You can tint it essentially. We can tint, which is essentially changing the color of the tunic. But I don't know if that'll be the case. That comes later. I can, but I'm not gonna. Like, I wouldn't make three different texture sets and have three different models, right? There is a tint feature in Attila where you can have just variation in color without making completely different models. So I wouldn't do that here. I would only make one here, and then I could make a tintable in game. So yeah. And then we have. Oh yeah. Well, speaking of Isengard, will the Uruk get hair in the future? Probably, yeah. It'll something I'll have to learn for Mordor because I have not. I've never done hair before, or stuff like that. You know, there's a very special way to do it. Cause it's kind of hard to make hair. You can't really model it. It's got to be some weird exploit with like textures and stuff. Just a lot of different little planes with like texture on them to get a nice looking hair, good hair illusion. So hair is planned, just not a priority right now. Okay, last thing. So we just need to finish this tunic. Okay. Yeah, okay. And then, oops, there we go, okay. And then here we can basically go like this. We'll take a brush that can fray. Let's look for brushes, and I just need like a dirt brush or something. Yeah, something like this. And then I just need to only change the opacity. Right, and then I want to go. What is this here? Okay, I gotta figure this out. Give me a second. It's been a while since I've done this. So. Full standard, yeah, I believe so. Okay. Use opacity channel, right? Oh shoot, I want this to be the opposite. Maybe in here. Let's just use opacity. Everything here needs to use opacity? No, okay. Okay, I think that's good. And then we can go here. Just gotta make sure there's no holes in our model. No, okay. Alright, and then here, what I believe we should be able to do then is go like this. Yeah, perfect. And now I can fray it. So I'm just gonna basically just make it not look, you know, super clean around the bottom edges. Right, just go around first of all real quick, and then fray it a lot more later. But yeah, just around the edges real quick. This really quickly and lightly. Actually, I'm afraid this is good. Okay. This essentially very quickly. This, and then also same thing on the hands-ish. region. Same thing on the other side. And then I'll go in for a bit more pronounced pass. So let's do that right now actually. So I'm going to take a different, maybe this dirt. We'll go in real small. Real small. And we'll basically completely just remove the edge. This, essentially. There'll be a few floating bits you might see, but I would not worry about that. And yeah, we're just gonna very quickly go around the edge here. And just give it a little bit of that nice disorganized, chaotic look. So, yeah, but not too much. I don't want to remove too much. It's just to make sure the edge is not, super clean, right? Let's same thing here. I don't want to remove too much once again. I'm going to be very, very conservative with how much I'm taking off here. Because I'm quite worried about taking off too much and kind of almost ruining the model. So past that, I think that's pretty good. And we just need to go once around the hands, and then this is a finished tunic. Just like this. I don't want to remove too much because I'm not going to have model underneath this, cause just for performance sake. Like I'm not going to have a full orc body underneath this because you could have clipping problems, right? When you're assembling this final, like I'm gonna have major chunks of this tunic missing, major chunks of the orc model missing. Like you saw that orc model that I had that only had the head and the hands, right? It's because you don't want to render things underneath the armor that you don't see ever in game because performance. So if I make holes here, like on the arm, let's just say, like here, I have to have a model here now to show that part, or else it'll just be invisible, so I don't want that. So I'm only doing it around the edges where there's still kind of the hand, where there's still the legs here, where there's still going to be kind of cloth underneath. So that's sort of how I'm approaching what I'm doing here. But yeah, just these nice, I really like these little details. Kind of they make it go from, they bring it up a level. You do a little stuff like this. I want to make sure I'm not drawing onto the other side of the model, so that's why I'm kind of looking from this angle, because you make that mistake quite often sometimes. Like, how did this hole get here? Okay, there's a bit of floating bits there. It's not the end of the world, but make sure there's no holes anywhere. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes it goes through and you get little holes. So I'm just gonna fix up, patch up any damage that I've done. That's, this example here. We do not want that. Little holes everywhere, it's not good. Just making sure I didn't do it anywhere else. Maybe I did the same thing somewhere near the arms. It's looking pretty good here. And that's where my seam is. Bottom looks pretty good. Make sure this isn't, too dramatic. Just did not need to go that much. Just making sure I'm not. Okay, there we go. fray is not too intense. Okay. So what do you guys think? I would say this is a pretty solid tunic. Because this is finished. So let's export that. Let's go target, and then we'll go. No, it's here. Oh, it's. Here, tier 3, tunic, select folder, and then, yeah, export. Done. Nice, that wasn't very hard. So, tier 3, Uruk, and it's gonna be I keep calling this trousers. It's the tunic. This is a tunic 01 LOD1. Save. Done. Boom. And we're gonna close this for now, and then we'll get back to this helmet, I think. So, yeah, as you can see here, for example, this orc model is only the legs, the hands, and the head, because you're never gonna see his entire body, his torso, because that's gonna be hidden behind. It's gonna be hidden behind armor and the tunic, for example. So that's an example, right, where I don't want to have a hole somewhere in the middle of the tunic, because then you could see through it, and then you'd have to have something behind it to render. So we don't want to, deal with that. So that is why I've refrained from putting holes just in the middle of the tunic. So I say we finish this helmet, then I can bring back my concepts here. I believe we were going with something like this. So first of all, the first thing I think we can do to improve this, maybe bring this a little lower, make it some larger. This also could use a bit of smoothing. And that a bit, and man, it's really tough to get this thing looking right, unfortunately. Okay. It is a little long, actually. Let's cut it back a bit. And for me, it still feels off for some reason. I can't give the exact reason. Simply don't know. I might just go with this one. Just see what happens. Let's go with that. Let's just finish this one up, and we'll see what happens if it looks bad, we'll scrap it. Yeah, we'll see. And I think this is basically a done model, low poly. So the next step is to okay, that's fine, yeah. So next step, I go apply the mirror, solidify, and this is too thick. Actually, this might be the perfect look thickness. Oh, it's a little too thick. Like that is good. And then I will have to do a bit of cleanup, and I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to actually apply this. And I'm actually going to do another mirror modifier on it. So I'm just going to select it down the middle. I'm going to go delete vertices. And I'm going to go mirror clipping. So basically what I'm just going to do is this, I'll show you, you'll see it. I'm going to like, there are some extra faces here. This could be all flat one piece. There doesn't need to be all these kind of faces here. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to go like this. And that. And I'll figure something with that later, but like this. That doesn't all need to be there. And then I will no, I can't have that. You know what? It's fine if there's a triangle there, I think. That's alright. All this can move back a bit then, I guess. Not that. And not that. Just I think you're right, but Vidvan, is that how I say it? But the reason I had to make it much larger and wider is because of the ears. It's simply the ears. There's a version of this model where the ears are tucked back, and I'm just trying to make this fit that, which I don't even know if it'll manage to do properly. So that's sort of my whole philosophy here with this. And I even have to test if it fits. If it doesn't, I'll have to redo this or whatever, but that is the main reason, I guess, it is so wide. And I agree that that is what's looking off with it. But again, once again, we'll see how it looks with like textures and stuff. And this one, I'll bring it right to game as soon as it's finished. Samurai orc, yeah. Does look a bit samurai-like just because the side flaps are really wide. Maybe we'll bring them in a bit. Yeah, but it's simply the ears. It's entirely the ears. Stick with this for now. This is the most I'm doing with it. And then, oops. What about holes? The ears can be out. Doesn't really fit with this style of helmet. We have a version of this model with the ears tucked back, but yeah, I really couldn't make holes. Like it just wouldn't really work, especially with this kind of a helmet. But I have to go for a different helmet if I wanted to do that. This doesn't look so bad. Like right now, it doesn't look terrible. So we will continue with it and see even if it fits the ears right, because it has to do that first. And I could test that in game. Let's bring this out a bit. I think I can make this a little thicker, I guess. Just so it stands out a bit more, right? And then, okay, the nose pieces are really thick. Make it thinner from the inside. Like that. I think that's good. And then we'll get rid of inside faces. Don't need this tunic here anymore. So it should be pretty simple to get rid of the inside faces. Oh, also something I can actually I'm getting rid of inside faces, so it doesn't matter. Just gotta make sure. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you essentially never see these faces. Also these ones here. Wow, I don't know what I just did there. Okay. I think that's still, I'm still in the good area here. That's the most I'll go, I think. Delete those faces. Okay. Whoopsie daisy, what did I do here? Did not mean to get rid of. Actually, if I'm getting rid of all this, then there we go. Let's see. Yeah, there's no way you could really see that. So that's good. Okay, that's ready, and then we're just gonna do some UVs on it. And then this is ready to be textured, or we need to make the high poly. So let's just make the UVs for it. So I don't need my references. I'm also gonna have this mirrored, so I only have to do half the work, which is nice. So let's do that. Oh, somewhere across, yeah, somewhere here I like messed this up. Okay, so I'm going around the bottom. No, actually, yeah, I'll just do this. Like that. Oops, did not mean to select that. Okay, that's selected. Yeah. Yeah, this is what I'm going for. Let's go mark him. And so yeah, I'm sure once again the majority of you have seen this, but I'm essentially just taking the model and laying it flat, cutting it out in ways so that it can be laid flat. There's going to be definitely some warping here. Just for this one, we'll go here. We'll do this. And that's a bit good. That's a bit good. So that's done. And everything here is mirrored, so it's going to apply to the other side, which is really nice. And then here, just a simple cut out that section there. And then we do this. Whoops. Something like this. Like that, nice. Okay. And then, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna put a seam here. Just down that line there. And then we put a seam around the back, actually all the way around really. Like this. Definitely one there. And then we can definitely, because this is like a almost rectangular shape. Oh, what is? That's okay, that's deleted, so I have to bring that back. So, Tony, Pat, you want to learn modding? That is, it's fun, yeah. I encourage you. It's anyone, yeah, I mean, you just gotta pick up a few skills, a few light skills, find something you're interested in, maybe some sort of team that's accepting or something. Even we're accepting even of new people all the time. If you are interested in joining the mod, if you have a bit of a modeling experience, texturing experience, animation, anything like that, we'd love for people to join. So yeah, if you want to learn modding, just pick up some a few skills. Go on YouTube, watch some tutorials. Just that donut one that Blended Guru always does. You could, and also your modding experience can take you a lot of other places. Okay, oops. Can take you a lot of other places. Like modeling for the mod here has helped me a lot in a lot of different applications, because just learning Blender even is a very valuable skill to me and tool to me. So there's nothing that there's nothing really negative about it, I guess. Okay. Now you guys know how much I hate unwrapping bowl-shaped things. Okay. I think this is gonna unwrap nicely. It's just this thing here is really, that does not look pretty. I'm gonna go with this. This is good. I'm learning to code. I want to get good enough to get modding myself as well. I'm not much of a coder. My coding experience is very minimal, but there's not much coding in modding. If you're learning coding, I would just do projects, kind of on my own myself, sort of, right? I don't know. There is a bit of coding. Because the thing is, most of the game is coded for you, right? When you're modding, you're just sort of taking some of the tools that the developers have given you, and you're just doing something with it, really, working with it to make something. So the game is already coded for you, so there's not much coding, but there is coding, like for example the campaign map, making tools to read the data from the game and stuff like that. That's coding. So there is definitely coding in modding, and maybe some other games have. Some other games have, really developed, coding teams and stuff like that, and they make complicated tools, or they can actually change the code of the game. But for our mod, there's not. The game's already coded for you. So the majority of it is just taking what we have. Like the majority of our team is maybe artists. Like I wouldn't say there's a lot of coders, but I would definitely endorse coding. It's a very useful skill. My coding is not the greatest. I know a bit of C, C++, and a bit of Java. That's about it. The most advanced thing I've done is classes and stuff. Classes and object-based programming, but that's up to where my abilities go. Modeling can lead to other skills. If you want to start, just watch some Blender tutorials on YouTube. So yeah, that'd be my best recommendation. Yeah, okay. That's good, I think. And then we'll apply this. Okay. No, that. Okay, yeah. Yeah, perfect. Okay. First of all, let's just save this. And then we'll go Shift Y. Oops. This I think is good. And then here I will go auto smooth. Shade smooth. And alright. Just fixing my auto smooth. Oh, you're schooling for full-time game dev. That's pretty neat. I'm schooling for engineering, so it's you know you learn some tools there. Like you do a bit of CAD, for example, right? That's like where my modeling has come into play. You know, there's some applicable tools and stuff, which is nice. Yeah, full-time game dev. Yeah, you live and breathe this stuff, I guess. And so you should definitely, if you want the upper hand, you know, do a bit of modeling and stuff. Yeah, we use mod tools provided by CA, by Creative Assembly. There are just some tools they have for us that can let us, for example, convert things into the game format, that lets us edit maps, that lets us view our models and stuff like that, right? There's stuff for changing like DB tables and stuff like that. Those are the only tools, kind of things that we have, right? Just there's a few tools that let us change some things or put some things into the game. So, but they don't have a tool that makes us change the campaign map. We have to make that ourselves. This is the high poly. This is going to be the high detail model that I'm making here. This is so that shoot, I forgot to okay, shit. Okay. There we go. Go by angle. That's good. And then segments. Just make it sharper edges like that. And then while we're here, we basically go like this. That create enough. I want more crease. not good. I just want a bit more of an edge here. That's basically all I'm looking for. And surprisingly, this is really, really clean so far. So let's put some bolts, some nuts, some details, some scratches, you know, the whole ordeal on it right now. So I'm going to apply everything here. And let's go into sculpt mode. Boom. Turn on Dyn Topo, which lets us free sculpt. Make sure some symmetry is on. And if you look, now we can bring back our model here, and there's kind of a little band and a little of an offset that separates the two plates that we're joining. So I would say, let's increase the detail of the brush a bit. Can we get a bit more detail than that? So I'm just going to create, it's a little thicker actually, it's a little larger like this. It goes down a bit like this. Okay, that's what I feared would happen. That's not good. The same thing happened up top. No, I don't have back faces. Okay. Gotta like go like this. Yeah, that doesn't ruin it. In this case, I can make the brush bigger. And I'll have to go in strips. And not super far down, I guess. Like this, and then we'll cap it off. And then we'll build up the edges. I can always flatten this out, so it doesn't really matter. And then I can just go, oops, make a bit more of an edge at the bottom here. And then let's flatten this out. Here I'll smooth like this. That. And then let's kind of smooth it out a bit, flatten it a bit, just so it looks a bit more realistic. Okay. We've added that sort of metal piece there. Maybe I'll like make it a little roundish. Sort of rounds a bit, you know, like this, just a tiny bit. I think that's perfect. Just a tiny bit. Fill in that little gap there. Okay. And then we do the same thing just around this edge like this. Seems to be the what's happening here. So just go all the way around. And I'll get more accurate as I join up with this piece here. And I'm just going to do this around the outer edge here. To make it seem like it's one with the metal. This. That essentially creates this little seam here, and then I'm going to crease it in. I love the sculpting's my favorite part of the process, if you couldn't tell. Make sure I'm in the right direction, because you can crease it outwards or inwards. So I'm going to crease it inwards to create that little indent just into the metal. The entire time, yeah, I should be seeing the result on the other side. So let's do that. Boom, boom, boom. solidify it a bit around the rim, just a bit. Do one more pass around the edge. Like that. That. Okay. And then we'll add some bolts, basically some rivets. So add one there, one there, one there, and then we'll hammer them flat. So let's do that. Actually, we'll go like down the middle. Just kind of randomly categorize. That one's too big. Let's go like this. Then we'll smash them flat with this tool. Right, and then we'll crease it around the edges. They can look a little lopsided. That, hammered in a bit. Then we'll add some rivets here. Seems to be 3 randomly placed. So we'll put like one at the bottom here. And then we'll put one here. And only one more like here. Just sort of not really well placed. Smash flat. This tool. This is the same process I think many of you have seen before. And then we'll crease it on the inside. As normal. Like that. And then we'll do some rivets around the outside rim. Like this, and then we'll basically start making it look imperfect. We'll start adding some, mess it up a bit, I guess you could say. A little higher resolution around the edge this time. Maybe some bad rivet placement. John Schuster, I appreciate the comments, but I'm telling you not to worry, because it all comes into it later. I do this one step at a time. You don't make it look bad from the beginning. You make a clean model and then you destroy it. You don't make a destroyed model first. Yeah. You have to get the base right. And then we'll crease it a bit. This edge here is going to be really nice to mess up with the dents. It'll be really nice to mess up. Alright. So now is the part you've been waiting for, John, where we get to destroy it. So just take this tool. This is the scrape tool. And only for the first part while we're mirrored, I'm just going to dent some of the edges, essentially. My zoom is messed up. Okay, I need to like scale this up. So I can zoom in closer to it. Oops, where is it? Okay. Nope, here it is. Okay. Just make sure I got my bearings. Okay, we're good. Now I can zoom in much closer, which is nice. Just kind of fray the edges a bit. Only a bit, because I don't want this to be too mirrored. I'm only doing it a bit, and then I'll go in asymmetrically without the mirror to like do this properly. So only to get the first kind of bits going. But yeah, just kind of fraying these edges, showing the metal dents when you like strike it with a hammer, essentially. And we're gonna do this across the entire model. Have I seen deleted scene in the extended version of LOTR 3 with Orchid inspection? I can't say I have it. Unfortunately, it's been actually a fair amount of time since I've seen the movies, so I will need a lot of reminders about movie scenes. You know, you gotta fill me in a bit when there's some sort of reference I'm missing. Has been some time. I know it's crazy, me working on Rise of Mordor and not seeing the movie every single day. Definitely this looks nice because it looks like a hammer kind of hit into the metal when it was hammering this part. Alright, and then we will keep going. Once again, I don't want to do too much because I want to have a bit of asymmetric detail. Then we'll go like this. So this will be my favorite part, I think. Just make it look like, you know, it's hit with a hammer over and over again. Yep, just messing up that edge slowly and surely. Go quickly around the outside edge, real quick, just real fast here because it's taking a while. And then I'll go through without mirror in a second. So, go once around the top. Actually, you know what? At this point, mirror off. Let's go through another pass. Yeah, just wear down the edges from hammer strike upon hammer strike. This. Also, if people have any questions, concerns, comments, anything at all, feel free to ask them in the chat, and I'll be, willing to answer. Also, keep in mind that we do in the description have a link to our Discord. If you're not in it, I would highly recommend you join. A lot of posts go on there. You'll see for example, when I'm streaming, when other team members are streaming, sneak peeks, information, and meet like-minded people as well. And if you're looking for matches or people to play with, so highly recommend joining the Discord if you are not already in it. But I'm certain most of you are in the Discord. And yeah, so feel free to post anything you like, any questions or anything in the chat. And we're gonna make gloves. Ooh. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about gloves when I get to it. I mean, they wouldn't. I don't think it'd be that difficult, but it is a minor detail. But my reference looks like it's calling for gloves, so that'll most likely be the case. Once again, I haven't thought that far ahead, right? I'm just sort of going piece by piece right now. So, helmet by helmet, first of all, and then breastplate by breastplate, and then overall asset by asset, and until we get a finished unit. Short answer, probably yes. Okay. That's looking extra frayed. Kind of want to look like it's using a big hammer here. Still is really nice. It really builds out kind of. I use this for like hard surface style sculpting, so even just like robotic based things work really well with this brush. It's a really nice one. Okay. Apollo, how multicultural is your development team? Which countries are you guys from? I would say it's very diverse. I think a fair amount, a lot of European people. I'm North American, if you couldn't tell. But I would say the majority of the guys are European. We have some from England, some from Russia, some from Netherlands. A lot of different places. Germany. It's quite varied. It's really quite varied. I don't think any of us know each other in person, I would say, though. So there's a fair amount of distance separating each of us. So yeah, it's almost purely an online just team. Almost, yeah. Which is kind of cool. They're just some random strangers on the internet, and we got a pretty cohesive thing going on, so pretty proud of it. Okay, so the guy who left this comment in chat, I'm not gonna pretend that I know how to read your name. What is that? Like Greek characters? I cannot read your name, but so you're downloading the new version, right? you don't have to. This mod works with the submod. Yeah, I don't know if the new version. I don't know if the new versions work with submods because the submods have to update their versions to work with ours. So you just it's really up to the submod, I guess. But you don't have to download. You don't have to delete the old version. There is when you launch Attila, there's a mod manager, and you can just sort of deselect the old mod pack and select the new one. So you don't really have to delete the old one, but you could if you wanted to ever revert to an old version or to play a submod, or you just don't want to delete it. So it's selected. You select it in the mod manager when you launch your game. Apollo, have you ever thought about creating a page on Patreon? Yes, we have thought about it extensively, but we cannot take money. I do believe Elias is correct. We are not allowed to take your money because we do not own the rights to the content we are making. The work is ours, but it is intellectual property. This is Lord of the Rings purely Lord of the Rings stuff, right? Nothing here is originally our idea. And yeah, it is not lawful. Elias is speaking facts right now. It is. We are not allowed to take your money. It is against the law. As much as we'd love to. Also, another thing you have to consider is it would be it'd create a lot of splits. As soon as you get money involved, things get a lot more serious. Some people might get jealous. Some people might think they're not fairly paid, or the question goes on how to split it, and it's a mess. So we kind of enjoy the fact that it's this is purely just motivation based, and it's just volunteering and doing it because we like it, right? And also kind of brings out the people who actually want to stay, right? We've had plenty of people join the team and go, right? Just kind of come and go and stuff on their. So it's nice to know who stays just because they're actually motivated to either learn or do something, right? But money complicates things. Also, we can't take it if we wanted to anyway. Only reason we would, but even if we were allowed, the only reason we would take money is maybe to buy tools that allows us to improve the mod. It would never go to an individual artist for profit or team member, right? It's not about profit at all. There's nothing here is related to money. This is purely just a passion project between a lot of different people from around the world. This helmet's almost finished. I've spent a fair amount of time on the sculpting of this helmet, so this helmet better turn out nice. I've accidentally deleted this bolt. Oops. I think this is I'm done with this for sculpting in terms of I gotta scratches. Will you do the new Uruk bodyguard as well? Uruk, the tier 4 unit of Mordor on the Trello. I mean, after reworking tier 3. I'm gonna look at the Trello real quick. Let's see here. Oh, I do believe, actually, I want to correct something earlier. I do believe someone asked if we were still working on Isengard. We are sort of, but not really. Like, Isengard is almost finished. It's basically done. It's just a few missing units, but just want to correct that. Looking back at the Trello, tier 4. So the only thing there is in tier 4 Olag High, the Guards of the Teeth, and Servants of the Eye. So the only thing we haven't done is the Olag High. But if you're talking about Guards of the Teeth, that is not being redone because that was literally just made. If you're talking about Servants of the Eye, I will also say that's unlikely that that's going to be redone. Will you do... the Uruk Bodyguard? I'm not sure. There's only the only tier 4 is the Olag High, which we will do eventually. Oh, Uruk Bar. Oh, I see it. Huh. I don't know yet. As you can see, there's no really reference pictures for that, so like maybe I'll do that, yeah. Because I'm just working on Mordor, so. But it'll be a bit later, right? Like I'll probably finish this, redo the faces for tier 3 for like all the like orcs and Uruks. Redo the head models, and then maybe fix some stuff for tier 2, and then I could think about the bodyguard and stuff. But I'd rather kind of just polish up and fix some of the stuff that's in Mordor right now, because Mordor has a pretty full roster, but it's unfortunate that a lot of it is kind of almost feels subpar, and it feels like kind of bad where you don't really want to play Mordor just because some of the units don't look very very nice when literally the mod name is Rise of Mordor, right? So I'd rather make that the faction look nice. Victimized, hello. Yeah, this is the 4th helmet variation we've gone with. Sort of looks like this, but without the massive horn or massive spike out of the head, but just a simple kind of helmet. I wanted something open-faced essentially, and something that kind of covers the nose. But yeah, nothing super complicated. The only problem we had with this one is it looks a little wide, but mostly the entire point was just to get it to be able to work, because every other helmet has open ears, like has an open spot for the ears to come out. But this one we decided would cover the ears, and so we're intending to use the variation of the orc with the ears kind of tucked in. So I had to make it a little wider just to kind of save that kind of room, the gap. Yeah, then it'll be a bit of time. Like I would maybe a few updates before we get to it. We'll get there though eventually. Okay, so this should be scale 1. Yeah. Okay. So this is a finished sculpt. I think that's good. Alright, so let's move this, since we don't need this anymore, because now we're on the baking phase. And then, okay, I am afraid of something here. Yeah, that's not really good. Damn it. I forgot to do something important that would have made what I could do. Like, you notice this dome looks really low. That's really so okay. How well does this work? Okay. Literally, this is gonna be very brutish. Do not try this at home. Is all I'm gonna say. I just need the origin to be sort of in the center, and then we'll just slightly inflate this, just so it kind of fits better. That is magnitudes better. Magnitudes better. That was a very, very rough way of doing that, but whatever makes it work. Okay. So let's first of all unwrap this. Okay. There's probably a little warping here. That's not terrible. And I'm gonna apply my. We already saw this at the beginning of the stream. We're doing this again. We're just doing the bake. So we'll take high poly, yeah, and then the low poly. This is gonna be a low ray, so like at most that much. What? UV editing shading. Oops, did I apply it to the? Okay, maybe I applied the material to the wrong model. Bake. Okay. Thank you for the compliments, everyone. But I am by no means the most talented artist on the team. I am. There are a lot more talented people than me on this team. It's a shame they don't stream. I would be interested in watching those streams, seeing how they go about things. There's individual orc pictures from the movie set on the Orc Warriors Trello are amazing. I will take a look at that right now. Orc Warriors, you said? Let me see. I see how they are. It ruins the illusion a bit when there's just a big tent behind them. As you can see, these orcs look very different from what we have in game, right? But then again, it's really difficult because if you look at all these references, every single orc has completely different set of armor. So it's really tough to get that, like a faction like Mordor, where like even when you have the lower tiers where it's like just so disorganized that every single orc is like wearing some weird rags and in different variations and stuff. That just makes it incredibly difficult to make. That'd be so difficult to model, right? Damn, that dwarf looks hot. Is that supposed to be a comment on the helmet? This is not a dwarf helmet, by the way. But I'm sure Frusty would be proud. Okay, why is that? What the heck? Okay, last thing. So let's check the end result here. Okay. Alright. Clean bake, not many issues. Let's send this out. Meaty, let's not create rumors here and excite people for no reason. I don't know what your sources are, and neither do you, to be honest, but let's just say the community does not know when there'll be updates because the team members don't know when there'll be updates. So what can I say? I'm so excited about the new update coming out yesterday. Exactly, guys. New update coming after yesterday. Meaning, I'm talking about the new Iron Hills submod. My bad. Yeah, that would be good to clarify. Sounds very different what you're saying. There's a new update tomorrow in the Rise of Mordor stream. Once again, the community cannot know when there's an update because the developers don't know. So, we got you there. Okay, so let's take this texture somewhere else. Same process as always. Nothing new really to see here. I guess that's what I have to say. Here, here. Helmet 4 and here. And just do a bit of cleanup crew essentially. So like this. Uh-oh, 1 second. Oh, that's not lined up like at all. Wow, okay. Bit of readjusting needs to be done here. Holy, okay. This is unfortunate, okay. Yeah, I did some mistakes here, I guess. Just gonna basically manually make sure things are in the right spot here. Because seems I failed at that. Like, tremendously. Must have been when I scaled everything up at one time. This is not very good what I'm doing here, by the way, for people watching. This is really bad what I'm doing, but I might have to redo it. I don't really want to, but the way it's what's happening here, it's you should not like be touching your eyeball like this, right? It should just kind of, it should be based. Yeah, this is a mess. This is what I would like to call it. But we'll figure this out. It's really on this crucial piece here that has like, you know, a lot more detail. So that's why this is like, I'm actually manually adjusting here in this situation because it's kind of a bit more of an important piece. But normally you should not be touching your high poly. Like this, just kind of like, you know, making big changes to it like this. You should not be doing that. Yeah, I agree on the comment that every... Okay. I think it's better not to ask how many helmets are left. Actually, this is the last one. So after this helmet, I'm done for helmets. That's... Helmet's finished. Yeah, I agree on the comment that every orc is so unique looking, but good. You are spending time on Mordor because it is a contingent of the mod names Rise of Mordor. Yeah, correct. I wonder why the mod has a name, Rise of Mordor, yeah. I'm hoping they make LeBron a custom general. I don't mean to burst your bubble, maybe, but that's not gonna be the case. Okay. Now we do this again. Rise of the Hobbits. The best Lord of the Rings mod out there. Exactly. Let's see this. Alright, that's looking... Is this still the new bake? Shouldn't look like that. Okay, first of all, once again, I don't like doing this. Just making sure everything is in the right place. This is a mess. Okay. Whatever. This is okay. Let's test this out. Okay. High poly. Low poly. Bake. Rise of LeBron. Right. Okay. This is a moment of truth. Is this still the result? I don't know. What is that? Oh, okay, I remember. Okay. Yeah, this is fine. Okay. Okay. We'll replace this. Close GIMP and open it up again. Alright. Let's open Blender Mordor Tier 3 Helmet 4 or normal. History Pro. So the full process of making a model is you make the low poly version, then the high poly, then you bake the normal map, and you add textures. Okay. I will go through. So there are different work streams depending on what you're making. So yeah, in the most case, for the majority of armor, yeah, you make a low poly model, you do your modeling, you UV unwrap it, which is that process of getting the thing ready for texturing. Then you take your low poly and you make a high poly out of it, and you do details and sculpting and everything like that. You bake textures, I only just choose to bake the normal map. Some people bake all the textures in different software. It doesn't like some people don't even use Blender. They model it in Blender and bake somewhere else. And you can bake more than normal maps. You can bake like something called ambient occlusion, a bunch of stuff like that. But I bake that in Substance Painter. Like there's like 6 different textures you're baking, but I only bake one of them in Blender. You bake, and then yeah, you do your material, you do your texturing, you add the material, the textures and whatnot, and then you take it. I've only shown you up to that point, but after that, then you have to rig it, which is the process of getting it to be able to move in game. So you take your model, you put it in game, or no, you put it in 3ds Max, which is different software. You rig it, which basically lets it move, and then you put it through a converter so that it has its game files, and then you can preview it in game. And then from there is when I let go. I send it off to Manu, and he basically puts it in game for me. That's the process. So low poly, UV unwrapping, high poly, baking, texturing, rigging, exporting. That's the process. And then if you're doing something like cloth, it's the reverse, sort of. You make your high poly first, and then you do something called retopologizing, which is creating a low poly from a high poly. It's like taking your high poly and then like making a model out of it, a mesh out of it. So for stuff like human faces, and you don't want to be defined, because basically your low poly defines your high poly, right? Your high poly and low poly have to be very close in shape. So if you're sculpting a face, you don't want to like create the low poly first, and then you're restricted by that kind of face shape, right? You just want to be able to go free with the sculpting and the high detail, right? And creating face shapes and constantly moving around the cheekbones and the jaw and stuff like that. And then from there, you create a low poly from your high detail. So that's why you sometimes you do high poly to low poly. So the tunic that I made that you saw earlier, I don't know if you saw it. That was originally high poly first, because I simulated the cloth and made it all wrinkled and stuff, and then I made a low detail from that and baked it. But yeah, you either do low poly and then high poly, or then high poly then low poly, and then you do unwrapping, baking, texturing, rigging, exporting. I remember that you created a Hobbit faction. Do you know what happened and why we can't play? I don't remember us making a Hobbit faction yet. We have Hobbit concept art, but if you look on the Trello, you'll be able to see which units we're working on or what we're doing, and I don't think there are any Hobbit units. Maybe it's a submod you're talking about. It could be a submod. That's my guess. Right. Let's okay. Okay. Now it's a matter of cleaning this up, and then putting it into substance to fix the texture. So let's clean this model up. All these artifacts. This is probably we've done this earlier in the stream, so nothing new here. Just the old familiar. Let me get rid of that sharp edge. I don't want that. Oops, I don't want that. So yeah, I don't want those colors at all. Oops. It's whatever. Okay, so yeah, essentially what I'm doing here, most of you have already seen me do this earlier on, just cleaning up model. The normal map. Can't have these. This one I think is gonna have a lot of artifacts because of our high poly and our low poly were a little kind of offset from each other, you could say. So that's why I'm a little concerned about artifacts. And artifacts is just the name, it's the lingo for problems. Bright colors that are showing up on your thing. It means something didn't really go right. Okay. Let's continue to clean this up. Yeah, this is like, it's like a little off, which is not good. I don't like that. Okay, and that's fine, whatever. Don't want that though. That light green, it's not nice. Maybe I'm not supposed to get rid of that blue actually, that blue might be important. I'm not gonna get rid of that, I need that back. I think I actually need that. Okay. See if I can get the blue back completely. I think I need that blue. Don't need that. Yeah, Victimize, you caught me there. It's just that I had a little problem with my low poly and high poly. They, I did some little scaling errors, and so I had to manually go in and just sort of push parts of my high poly around to get it line up with the low poly. So I'm just making sure there's none of those bugs or errors. I also have to just kind of smooth out this back because it's somehow picking up. The shading is a little weird, and it's picking up like the grid look of the model going from low poly to high poly, which I don't want. Just try to smooth that out. Artifact there, artifacts there. And let's go to this top area. I think this is the inner part of the nose. Some slight edge problems. This is underneath the nose, I can tell. Just by the shape. And this needs to be cleaned up, because that's the part where there's issues. There were definitely issues there. That should not have that color. That's fine. And the rest, just cleaning up little artifacts I'm seeing. Here, it's a little sharp. I don't want that to look like that too much. I can tell this is the inside edge of like the inner rim of the helmet almost. Okay. Let's take a big outside look at this, big zoomed out view. Okay. That's looking clean. Let us adjust this. And save. I almost just closed my thing. That would have been very unfortunate. Export. don't want to save this. And save this. And then I'm going to export this model. So file, FBX. And this is not a tunic, this is helmet 4. Yep. Good. Save. The Russians are having their conversation in the chat. Okay. Was I on texture? No, I was on the model. Helmet 4. And helmet 4. And victimized, I promise next time I will bake the ambient occlusion in Blender. I swear I will. Okay. Tier 3. Boom. Bake mesh maps. And yeah, this helmet is either gonna hit or miss. Okay. Are imported and then bake again. Let's do this. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna bake at a higher resolution. I keep forgetting to do that. Okay. And then we'll fix the seams, the whole seams thing. This is I put everything to triplanar, so it's not. I just don't want to have it. Yeah, there we go. That's the one. So I just don't be able to see that seam there, and it's not okay. Yeah. It's not too offset. This is, I think this is, yeah, we didn't completely ruin it. Okay. Not bad. Let's add, oh, I forgot to add scratches. I can do that here. Actually, I can do that here. It's fine. And I'm actually kind of a fan. You know, it doesn't look. I was really worried about this helmet. I was really worried about it. Yeah, it's I was worried, but it's not half bad. Yeah, I wish there was more. I wish I was a little harsher on the top here. You can't really see some of the other details I've done here, but I'm gonna make it a little bumpy and then add scratches. So I'm gonna do that right now. Just add a fill layer. Oops. And then we're gonna put a grunge on it. We're just only gonna make it affect the height. Grunge. How about just gonna be some dirt. And then we'll change this to height and change the impact it has. I think that looks, that's a good amount. That's a rough enough of a texture. I could go a little heavier here. No, that's too much. That's way too much. You know. I think 7 is good for this one because this one's lacking a bit on the other kind of details. So we'll do that, and then we will let's add some scratches because I forgot to do that in Blender. So I guess you'll learn how to do it here. I guess I do believe there's like a special just tool. Okay, let's go brushes, and there's a scratch. This is the one. I need a draw layer though, so scratches. Which one is this? This is, I do believe, okay. And then I go flow, spacing. So it's multiple scratches. There's gotta be, yeah, sharp line is the one. Increase the size, and then I can do stuff like this, right? Actually, I'll make the size smaller, and then, yeah, let's go, okay. And then I'll basically make it affect the height, and I'll make it a little darker in this area, so we'll go like dark gray here. How does that look? Can't really see that. How about black? Yeah, just straight up black. It's not very simple. It's like using a crayon. That's what it feels like. Maybe we'll make it more significant. This is good. And then we'll give it some scratches. I'll vary the size as we go on. There's definitely a few scratches here. Make it look like it's taken a few hits, especially on the nose guard. Some big ones across here. Just taking some hits to the dome. One across the top here. It's been hit quite a few times in the back. Make it a bit bigger. Make it a few bigger scratches. Like this. Yeah, this one's gonna look a little. This one's definitely seen battle. That's what I'll say. I think that's what I'll do for scratches. I think maybe some more here. Yeah, that's done. All right, it's a finished helmet in my book. Just taking one more to the back of the dome. Okay. There we go. That's a finished helmet in my book. Let's save this and then export it. So this is Uruk. Throne helmet 4 export the correct format. Make sure it's Total War, and it's going to go to here. Okay, save, and that's a wrap for that. So that makes, oops. Okay, helmets are done. We finished all 4 helmets of tier 3. That's done. How about we go? Let's go over them. I'm trying to think. I'm probably gonna end the stream soon, in like 20 minutes. So I'm trying to think of what I could possibly do in 20 minutes. I'm thinking here. There's so the plan was to do trousers next, but I'm not going to be streaming until probably like next week. So I'll give this up to you guys. Do you guys want me to do trousers? Is trousers something you guys really want to like see, or because if I'm gonna work off stream, the next thing I would do would be if I were to work off stream, I could either do the trousers or the chest plate, the really hard chest plate. So would people rather see the trousers done on stream and I do the just part, like at least start the chest plate off stream, or do the trousers off stream, or even start the trousers off stream and do the chest plate on stream? I'll leave that to you guys to decide while I open these up. Just what do people prefer, I guess. Yeah, here's the first helmet that we made on stream. Pretty cool stuff. I like this one. I like this one. And then here's our second helmet. Pretty iconic. I'm a fan of this one. I do, in fact, enjoy this one. I like this guy. This one's gonna look sick, like really cool in game, I think. I'm excited to see these in game. Let's go to our third. I think this one was the third one my favorite. I couldn't tell. I really like the third one. Yeah, the third one's really, really simple, but it's crude and effective, I guess you could say. Yeah, you really got to do something with these kind of basic helmets, right? They are kind of really basic in shape, but like you gotta do something with them. And then the one we just did right now, which is this one. Yeah, that first helmet is very Mordor-like. The other ones are a lot more simple. Like a fair amount of these are like, I would say the middle two, 2 and 3. Actually, no, the second one is pretty Mordor-ish. My only concern is a lot of these are gonna look really boring from the back, except for the first one. Like if you look at this from behind, you're like playing the game and you're looking at it from up and behind, you're looking down, you're gonna see that it's not very interesting. You're gonna see a lot of like bald, just kind of metal heads. That's my only concern, but So next time, so I only really got one vote, but I think basically I'll be starting the chest plate off stream, and I'll be doing Marvelous Designer trousers on stream, because you guys want to watch me suffer on Marvelous Designer. I'm awful at Marvelous Designer. Oh, if Victimize is still here, I'll show him the tunic I made. This is my first time making a tunic in Marvelous Designer. So this is the result. And then we've textured it and stuff, but I've simulated just an area where I think the belt would be. So, and then actually a fair amount of the arm folds are sculpted, not even simulated. All the simulations for here were like the chest. The chest was mostly simulated. This region here was simulated, but the arm wrinkles and folds, sculpted. So yeah, I think I really have nothing else to say, really. I mean, I'll be starting. When will we get the update? The mod, we don't really set release updates, like up like the dates really for updates. You'll know about it maybe a few days before it happens at most. But anyway, I gotta get going, so I'll wrap this up. So we're done the helmets. We've done this helmet, this helmet, this helmet, and then the one we just saw, which was like this helmet without the horn, the spike. We're gonna do the chest plate. I'll do the chest plate off stream, a bit of it maybe, start it, and then the next time we stream, we'll do the trousers, and then we'll continue the chest plate. And the next time I will be streaming will be next week. So I believe you have a concept art stream tomorrow, and then we have either campaign or Frusty working on dwarves on the weekend for those streams. And then my Mordor stream will continue next week, sometime next week. I'll have to figure out a time. But I think that about wraps it up on my end. So I'm gonna close this and save everything here. Don't I need to sleep? I am not in the same time zone as you, most likely, Geet van de Voort. Where I am, it's only just starting to get dark. So I've still got some time left on the day. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed or learned something from the stream. Maybe it motivated a few of you guys to get into Blender, perhaps. So yeah, enjoy the next streams coming up in the next few days, and make sure to join the Trello and the Discord. All the links are in the description below. And I will see you guys later.